His Excellency Tage Erlander, he was the longest ever serving Swedish Prime Minister. He was serving for 23 years, from 1946 to 1969. And he is very much associated with the rise of this booming Swedish economy after the Second World War and the rise and the development of the Swedish welfare state. This is the so-called record years when employment was down, GDP was up, and the society grew stronger and stronger. Maybe I can say that Tage Erlander, he is well known for having coined a certain phrase. And that phrase was the strong society. And you know, the strong society means a society you take care of and you defend and you protect the weak ones. A strong society is measured by how you take care of those who are less resourceful. And in the Tage Erlander way, this was done by a progressively expanding public sector, which was tax-funded but very efficiently managed. Making sure that people had a decent pension, making sure that people had an employment benefit, making sure that they could pay their health bills, making sure that there was affordable childcare and things like that. And that term, the strong society, has very much colored the development of the Swedish inclusive state, I would say. So the Thursday Club was actually a meeting that happened every second week with representatives of the Employers Federation in Sweden at the national central level and trade unions, trade union representatives at the national central level. So they met every second week in the presence of a minister and sometimes also the Prime Minister, Mr. Erlander, to talk about how they could collaborate to increase the production and the also exports of Sweden at the day. But the point was that they tried to collaborate to find solutions which were good for the employers but also good for the employees, represented by the trade unions. And they could very well agree to disagree, but surprisingly often they agreed, and they realized that there was a compromise where the employers had to give a little bit in order for the employees to be happy, and for the employees realized that they also had to accept certain things. And then progressively this is how also production increased and also labor rights increased, and miraculously the number of strikes went down because there was this feeling that there was a social consensus. Yes, I very much think so, because this is what I'm describing is a spirit of dialogue and consultation. Obviously you have different points of view, but you have a format where you can discuss these sticky, difficult issues. It is sometimes difficult or impossible to agree, but where you sooner or later kind of work out a compromise. And the beauty of it is that you stick to that compromise later on. And I think that has also affected the political dialogues. It's not as if Sweden is a paradise without political conflict, not at all. But after tough negotiations, and finally when there is a compromise, which typically everybody is a little bit disappointed with, the parties stick to it. Better to be able to build on what was earlier agreed rather than to rip apart and then start anew, which I think could maybe increase division and polarization.